unavailable. But what if that's emotionally available in the first place? Welcome back to Suit and Boot, where we stand up in truth, transformation. Whom they usually think of women. It's different. Now, a man may have experienced inconsistency, emotional absence, overdependence, control, or emotional enmeshment. And all of that shapes how he shows up in love. How to communicate, how to separate love from obligation. Then, what you call emotionally unavailable is often someone who was never trained. They were just never shown how to be a man, how to function. And I didn't just learn this from theory. I lived it. I could see that he didn't have a consistent foundation. When I look back now, I can see that he didn't have a consistent foundation growing up. He lived in different places. For example, with his grandmother, his aunt, his father at one point, and then his mom for a few years. He only lived with his mom for about 7 years. Pieces of structure. Fragments. And when we got together, young, he was still forming, not building from foundation. He was building from fragments. Our foundation was built upon the sand. Then, as an adult, at 40 something, his mother re entered his life in a different way. Her marriage had ended. and she came into our space. Not gradually, not intentionally, just inserted. Because this is something people don't talk about enough. We don't talk about this enough because we think that to take in the in-law, we're just supposed to just drop our lives. And there was no discussion because when she came into our home, it felt like I was in a threesome. Sense, but in a relational sense. My husband building a life together. It was me and her rules, her traditions, her expectations. And as my law school professor used to say, there's only one cock in this house. And here's the thing. She came in from a place where her life had shifted. Because since her marriage ended, and instead of rebuilding her life on her own, separate and apart, in her own space, she stepped into ours. And when someone brings unresolved chaos into your home, it doesn't stay contained. It spreads like wildfire. She was watching everything I did. If I didn't wake up early, if I didn't make breakfast, there was judgment. Not in words, in looks, in mannerisms, in whispers to others. There was commentary. There were conversations about me, what I didn't do for him. All this behind my back. And now, let me be clear. This wasn't a mother-in-law trying to help me to, see that I was having an issue and trying to help me. No. But it was to evaluate me. Even things like washing my clothes. my personal things, my underwear, things I never asked for were invaded. And what that invasion does, let me just tell you what it did to me. It slowly removes your autonomy as a woman, as a partner, as an adult. You're no longer a wife in your own marriage. You are not the only woman in your own home. You are being treated like someone under supervision. And I want to say this clearly. When there are no rules, no boundaries, roles get confused. And the hardest part was he saw it. It's me like I'm a child. She doesn't know I'm a grown man. Moms don't know I'm not a baby. But he would never say it to her. Yeah, publicly. That is emotional enmeshment. That is when a man knows something is off, feels it, sees it, but doesn't have the tools to separate from it. And when you combine that with pressure, with infidelity, with outside dynamics, now you don't have now you don't have a relationship. You have a system. A system. And systems without boundaries, they don't function. They collapse. They fall apart. There was a point where everything escalated and I reached a breaking point from all of us being in the house and everything that was going on. And I reacted in a way that I'm not proud of. And I share that because this is what happens when you stay in something, even after trying to create space, that pressure, it didn't stop. The demands didn't stop. The dynamic didn't stop. Why would it? Nothing has changed. Were there no boundaries? Distance doesn't fix the problem. This is why some men struggle to commit. They avoid and they shut down. They pull away. It is not always because they don't care, because they were never. Now, let's finagle this situation because why not, right? Says to stay. Avoid. Don't confront. Insight. Ignition says set the boundary. Choose differently. Separate. Of love without be popular. But I'm going to say it anyways. In-law dynamics. In-law dynamics like this without boundaries are difficult to sustain in a relationship. Let that permeate. Because in my experience, it did not work. Not once, not twice. It ain't a work. And I don't recommend it. I don't recommend ever stepping into that. Consistent, concise structure and respect. And even then, there's no guarantees because it's not meant to be that way. Because in the Bible, it says in Genesis, when a man and a woman are married, they leave their father and their mother and cleave to their wife. Now, if you're a man listening to this is not about blame. This is about awareness. You can't give what you were never taught how to hold, but you can learn it. Yes, you can definitely learn it. And if you're on the other side of this, understand something. Just choosing a person, you're stepping into their pattern. This has been Suit and Boot. Standing up in truth, transformation, and breaking out of trauma. Now, if this episode resonated with you, go to scorfinagle.com and take the quiz. Find out how you've been dealing with your survival patterns. And I'll be doing my first Scorfinagle workshop on May 13th. So after you take the quiz, you feel free to join the workshop. I Scorfinagle. Do you?